Hey everyone, this is the ShutInBakas. My name is Chris. So, we're back for another depressing episode. Why does this keep happening? Every episode I have to make ends up being depressing. So, the reason it's depressing this time is because Funimation has finally bought Crunchyroll. Now, if you don't know why that's a bad thing, it's because that will make it a monopoly, because Funimation is owned by Sony. And Sony likes to desensitize things. Or, actually, it likes to censor things, sorry, that's the wrong word. Okay, let's go back a wee bit. So basically, a while back, Funimation was in the works to buy Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll was all for it. They were like, oh yeah, give us the money and we'll be good. So basically, that was going through, but the government I'm not sure which government it was, but the government kind of came along and said, hang on, this kind of seems a bit anti-consumer. A bit of a monopoly. And, yeah, that didn't really come to anything, they just let it happen anyway. So now Funimation has merged with Anime Lab and Crunchyroll, which, to be fair, Anime Lab was kind of just Funimation, but for, Oceania, more or less. But that still hurt. And now Crunchyroll is, and essentially, from what I've gathered, they're merging, but for the moment, they're going to be staying as separate companies. So you'll still have to make your Funimation and Crunchyroll subscriptions separately. But the problem about that is that for how long, and the only real benefit of this entire thing is basically maybe having everything in one service. That's it. That's the only benefit. But aside from that, depending on the service as well. Like, if it's all on Funimation's website, we're screwed. Like, their website is terrible. If you go to the Funimation Reddit page, apparently it's filled completely to the brim with people having technical issues and not fixing them for years, or ever. And I find that pretty funny. Not for the people experiencing them, but just the fact that, the leader of anime in the West can't even fix their own website. Even though it's a very common problem. So, at the end of the day, what is the problem here? The problem is, now that Sony owns Funimation, and Funimation is now with Crunchyroll, or owns Crunchyroll, we're going to be getting more and more censorship in anime. So, think of it like this. Sony moved to the West recently. They moved their game headquarters from Japan to California recently, or last year, I think. And mainly since then, and sometime before then, since they were working around it, they started censoring mainly lewd anime games, that were completely fine on Nintendo platforms of all things. Sony is now becoming the Nintendo of gaming, because they're just censoring everything and, anything that's risque from the Japanese market. They're fine with, what's-its-face, The Last of Us Part 2, that dude and a girl, raw dogging each other. Yeah, that's fine, but as soon as, you see some, a smidgen of an underboob on an anime character, no, that's too much. I can't understand that. So anyway, we're going to be seeing censorship, that's for sure. Otaku Spirit made a video on this as well. They summed it up pretty well. They're going to be censoring stuff, it's a certain guarantee. I'm interested because, as you guys know, we at ShutInBakas, the two of us, are big fans of High School DxD. And the problem with that show is it's extremely lewd. And yeah, I can't imagine High School DxD coming out and streaming on Funimation uncensored nowadays. I know it is uncensored currently on the website, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just said, you know what, no. And just chucked it aside and never got it, or they even just censored it. They just put light beams all over the place, I don't know. Yeah, so what is our alternatives then, if you don't like the, Funimation, Sony buyout and all that stuff? Well, we've got High Dive, which, High Dive is basically Sentai Filmworks. And they own a lot of shows, so it's not like you'll be struggling to find things. It's just that you most of the time can find them on other platforms. So you've got stuff like Gate, and Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Monster Musume, Food Wars, and lots of other stuff like Maiden Abyss. And you'll find all sorts of shows on here that are good and deserve to be watched. It's just that this is just another subscription in an already cluttered industry. And the main problem is you can pretty much find all of these shows on places like Netflix and Funimation anyway. So that doesn't really help, does it? Because HIDIVE, who knows, HIDIVE might pick up the game a bit. They might start, increasing the shows that they can buy, I guess. I mean, here's hoping, right? Because if they don't, then it's up to Netflix. And Netflix doesn't simulcast shows, they just dump them all, a year after they were released. Just like, oh yeah, here you go, boop. It's really stupid how they do that. And Amazon was in the anime industry years ago, but they quit, because I'm guessing the traction they wanted wasn't there. I would say they might come back. It's not a guarantee, definitely not, because currently they've got on their subscription service for New Zealand, they've got 3 animes. The only notable one is Life is Hard for Otaku. That's it. And they're also getting the 4th Evangelion movie, which is coming out soon. So here's hoping they might say, okay, if you guys want it, then we'll supply it. That's my guess, because the recent one with AnimeTube, which was that recent scam platform that tried to get backed, but then got taken down because it was so obviously a scam. That got people extremely excited, and I think that should have flipped the switch in some company out there, or in an existing one, that we want more options. We want to have the options that's not just all controlled by Sony and Funimation. We want HIDIVE, we want more stuff on HIDIVE, we want Netflix to start simulcasting shows, we want all sorts of stuff. It's not that hard to understand. I'm not sure why companies struggle to understand that we like options, and that we want what is best for us, because we think it's best for us, not because Funimation thinks it's best for us. Because it's not. Right, anyway, so I'm gonna hear everywhere that, okay, well, I'm just gonna go and start pirating anime. Sure, do that, whatever. But the problem is, when you start pirating anime, you're gonna be getting everything that we're getting anyway. So if you're going to go, oh, well, if High School DxD is censored on Funimation, I'm gonna go pirate it. You know what? It's probably likely that it's gonna be still censored on that pirate site, because it's likely that out of the gate in Japan, it's going to be censored, because now Sony is influencing Japan, and that's terrible. Yeah, it's getting ridiculous, the fact that the West is influencing other countries, and they don't want it at all. So, yeah, the end result is, I would say, go subscribe to HIDIVE. They've got a free 30-day trial up there. This isn't a sponsor or anything, I'm just trying to give people the options here. It should be available in most countries, probably not the ones where Funimation wasn't available, because HIDIVE is even smaller than that. It's got a catalogue of probably just over 100, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, so go to HIDIVE. Maybe, if you want, look around on those sketchy websites. I mean, I don't recommend them, because you can get all sorts of viruses from them, and it doesn't support the industry whatsoever. But what I will say is, keep an eye out for anything new coming up, because if we can get something like AnimeTube, but is actually good and not a scam, then we need to support it. Because the AnimeTube, it got $100,000 within a few days or something, right? It's obvious that anime fans have a lot of money that they're willing to chuck towards a service that will actually help the industry. But we're just kind of stuck in limbo here, where no company wants to rise to the challenge, and we're begging somebody to. So at the moment, I'm begging High Dive because I like High Dive. They're actually relatively good overall for their streaming quality, and they have a good variety. But yeah, it's a sad state of events really for the whole anime industry, and yeah, that's really all I've got to say on the matter. It's a bit depressing to think about, but don't worry, I'll have a review coming out of either one or two shows. That High School DxD video that I promised you last time, or a show that I've been watching a lot recently called Uramichi-san, Oni-san, sorry, which is just a comedy, and I really want to talk about that show because I really like it. So, yeah. Anyway, if you like the video, hit the like button, really helps us out. Hit the subscribe button if you want to check out our videos when they come out, and ding the bell so that you can get notifications for that stuff. And yeah, I mean that's. Also share with your friends. We need to get more of a wider audience going. Anyway, thanks for watching. My name was Chris, and I will see you next time. Peace out.